All right, here we go. Another contemplative morning as I drive along my irrigation canal at my day job, looking at the water, looking at the weeds, doing what I do best. I'm thinking and analyzing life in the world and wondering like every other human, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it? How am I going to take on the attitudes and beliefs that I need to to have a legacy, to survive today, but also leave a legacy. And then thinking, wow, is this helpful? And yes, it is. For me, it is. But I want to encapsulate some of the things that would be helpful for other people as well. So I was listening to a little bit of an audiobook by Stephen Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's now an old book, and it's been out a while. Very, very famous. Wow, that's distracting. Anyhow, I it's still on the foreword by the author, read by the author. So interesting look into this man's soul and stuff to think about there. And of course, it even reading the foreword to a book that you know is wildly popular stirs up all kinds of meta thoughts like, am I going to be able to assimilate this? Am I going to agree with this? Is this going to back up beliefs I already had? And if it dovetails with beliefs I already have, are they right? Are they wrong? Will this reinforce something that I shouldn't believe? That's a worry that comes up. I know for some of you it's obvious. I struggle with paralysis of analysis and overthinking. But since I do overthink, why not just embrace it, let it be something good, and let it wend its way towards positive things? It is a little bit like herding cats. You can have a lot of thoughts, and they can be exploratory, and they can entertain really negative outcomes, but you don't have to make it go there. In fact, I do my very best not to. I was overhearing an audiobook that my wife was listening to the other day, and the author was saying how they themselves were like a 10 on the happiness scale, and their husband was a 6, and how disconcerting at first it was to learn that the person they married was nowhere near as happy as they, and it was like astoundingly troubling. But at the same time, after talking, the wife and husband talked, the husband said, babe, I think 6 is where most people are at. Like, just know that 6 is reasonable. It's pretty good. A lot of people are not even there. So with that in mind, 6s and 10s do great together, right? You have someone who's bubbly and someone who's a little more contemplative, a little more analytical. It's a great match. That's pretty much a good description of my relationship with my wife. Very, very optimistic person I married, and me, who tends to be a little bit more cynical, a little bit more analytical. And you can be, and then that's the line. Like, I don't want to be cynical. I want to be thoughtful and change this angle a little bit, use whatever I have to better the world, and not entrench myself in unhelpful beliefs. And because you can pick and choose your beliefs, why not pick the very best ones? Why not pick the very happiest ones? Why not pick the very most useful ones? Pick your own criteria, right? I'm not saying there's not consequences for picking your own, but at least you can, at some point, choose. And maybe it's easier earlier, but at any point you can choose what you believe. Yes. So I had a lot of thoughts today about whether I should even post or not, because it's kind of a down day. For some reason, I woke up extra tired, and I'm thinking, the world doesn't need that. The world doesn't need a post by some vlogger who's extra tired. Then I thought, and that's exactly why I don't post 40% of the time, maybe 60% of the time. I just don't feel like I have a great take, so I don't want to put it out there. But it's like exercise. Is there a bad day to exercise? Is there a bad exercise? Yeah, probably. It's the day you don't exercise. It's the day you don't, unless it's part of a rest and sort of it's a healthy cycle, right? The cycle of workout, rest. I have no problem not posting or not putting myself out there if it's part of a relaxing, resting, rejuvenation cycle. So, and today wasn't, so I put something out there. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to add that would be in any way helpful. Yeah, here's one. Just to mix things up. So there is, if you're a parent, I have children, young children. They're not as young as they were when I started doing this, but they're still rather young, and I think of how I would want them to live their lives often, and how I would add something to them in their training. And it comes down to, often I'm trying to stretch them, not so much that they're going to break, not even close, just beyond their comfort zone, because I believe they can have a better life through sort of stretching. Like, some growth happens completely without intervention, and some growth happens when someone in authority or someone alongside you, gives you input. So, and to think that the God I believe and follow would treat me worse than that really is not very logical, right? It's possible, but I think God stretches me, wants me to grow, but not to the breaking point. And even though, based on things that have happened before, I often feel like, wow, I was breaking hardcore at that point, I don't think that's what God intended. So, make of that what you will. I think there is proper stretching, and I think there's growth that comes of it. So that even on a down day, a B day, as it were, you have something. You have something to offer yourself. You have something to offer the world. And if you can encourage one person and put forth what you have with pure motives, it's worth something. It's very valuable, in fact. So on that thought, just encourage anyone listening to have a great day. And if it's a push yourself day, push yourself. If it's a rest day, rest well. And I think a person can learn to discern which is which. And the pattern's always changing. So, like, you do the thing that makes you come alive, and then rest. Have a great day.